So when I came back from Guatemala, where I'd been serving for 6 years as a missionary, really my husband and I, and my husband's Guatemalan, we felt called to return to the UK. When we came to the UK, it was the end of 2008, after the financial crash. I'm a chartered accountant and I was pregnant, and really we came back, we really felt God was calling us back, but it actually led into a really challenging time because there was just no work. Thankfully, we now know that this had God's handprint, footprint, everything. It just had his hand over it all, because actually within a couple of years, all the visa requirements changed and we actually wouldn't have been able to come back. Neither of us with jobs. At the time, my parents were guarantors. We wouldn't have been able to do that 2 years later. So clearly it was God's timing. We know it was God's timing. But we came back, there was no work. I remember talking to an accountancy firm saying, my husband's a bookkeeper, I'm an accountant. And he said, a year ago, I would have been able to give you both jobs, but now there's just nothing. And there's just that period of thinking, well, gosh, what do we do now? And I think we knew we'd heard God clearly, but that doesn't make it any easier in the months that go by and a baby coming and no paid work. So I took a sabbatical from my church that had been supporting me. So there was some money coming in, though it costs a lot more to live in the UK than it does in Guatemala. So it was a little bit tight. But really, God stepped in such an incredible way for us. Our son Jonathan was born and we still had no work. We were still in this difficult situation. And I then got a phone call 3 weeks later by someone who went to a different church, not the church that we were going to, but a different church in York, saying, I've seen this notice saying they're looking for a part-time bookkeeper for a new charity. So I contacted the number and they said, I don't know why my name's on that advert, actually you need to talk to the Archbishop of York. So that was a bit crazy, but anyway, I spoke to his wife and said, I'm a chartered accountant, but I do need a job and my background's charities. And she actually came to our house. My husband was upstairs trying to keep our little 3-week-old baby settled. I was the only one who responded to that advert, and it has led to, well, basically the last decade plus of my career. It enabled us to stay in York, because this new charity was Acts 435, and behind it was the entrepreneur Julian Richer, who has since set up other charities that he's got me involved in. And there's a verse in the Psalms that talks about the boundaries falling in pleasant places, and that has been so true for us, and just God showed up in such an incredible way for us.